Cotton Belt SD40T here again, and welcome back to Let's Play MSTS. Last time we played Riding the Yellows, and today we are going to play Bridge Damage. Loading. Alright, this has loaded. As always, place the brakes, the reverser, headlights, throttle, horn. Alright. Alrighty then. Here we are. So, the reason why this is called Bridge Damage is because in this video, there's been damage to one of the bridges, so our train is going to be temporarily rerouted onto another section of track, and that section of track is undergoing maintenance, therefore we're going to have to go slower. But we're going to do our best to stay on schedule and not get delayed. Let's just see how well we can pull this off. And as you can probably see on the track monitor, we're coming up on 30 miles per hour speed zone, so I'm going to have to watch it through here. And you know, ever since the last time I made the last video, I actually remembered something that I haven't remembered in a few years, since that's been how long since I've last played MSTS. But, I can check the speed limit, the current speed, how fast we're currently going, or the projected speed, and I've realized that the projected speed actually tells us how fast we might be going at this point, how fast we'll make it to. And this does come in handy on cab signal lines such as the Northeast Corridor, so that you don't get stopped, because I've heard that if the projected speed is higher than the current speed, then you're speeding up, but if the current speed is higher than the projected speed, then we're slowing down. In the meantime, we'll just take a look on the outside of the Acela, the most badass high-speed rail in America. And another unrealistic thing I've noticed about this train is that they actually made the consist inaccurate, at least for the sessions, because, like, in real life, the Acela Express train set would have 2 business class cars in the front behind the lead engine, and then the cafe car in the middle. Then after the cafe car comes 2 more business class cars, then a first class car, and then the end of the train. But whenever you're running the Acela on these sessions, first comes the cafe car, and then 3 business class cars, and then not 1, but 2 first class cars toward the end. That's inaccurate for the Acela, but the passengers will probably enjoy it since first class seems more relaxing than business class. Yeah. Well, whenever you're running the Acela as the main train in a session, it has the inaccurate consist. But if you're actually running a different train, such as the HHP8, and you happen to pass by an Acela, then it'll have the real world consist. And bridge damage caused us to be rerouted onto a stretch of track that's undergoing maintenance work. We'll divert it from outpost. Okay, no problem. So right now, we're coming up on an 80 miles per hour speed restriction, which means we can go a little bit faster. But I don't want to be in that speed zone too long, because we're going to hit a 15 miles per hour mark soon, requiring us to slow down. Alright, let's kick her in the ass for a little bit. And so far we have 25 minutes to make it to Philadelphia from Wilmington. We have 18 miles until Philadelphia. Let's see how well we can do this. Of course, the freaking train doesn't even have its wipers on. Alright, so here's where we're going to start getting switched. The track we're getting switched from, and it's not going to be much longer, and then we're going to be taking a different route. So, coming up on it right now, so I'm going to get prepared to slow down. That's the cafe car we're riding in. Looks nice, but it would also be pretty interesting if the Acela Express's car interior could show us the interior of like a business class car, or even better, a first class car. To me, that would provide an interesting view. And then our temporary speed restriction is going to come right after we hit the signal. Past the signal. So, once again, I'm going to get prepared. Oh, dang, we're already in it. Already in the speed restriction. I just don't understand how at this point, how we're not actually getting caught going over speed and getting stopped. Of course, that's the overspeed display, and since we're not going over speed, it is not lit. I'm just gonna see what happens if I set the throttle to 1%. It was at 0% when I stopped. So yeah, we're going really slow at this point. It's gonna get boring. See what happens if we put the throttle here. I'm gonna have to set it down one notch because it's projecting us to go 16. Maybe that'll do it. We'll see. But yeah, I know I can hit D to speed up the train with that throttle and A to slow it down, but I had to use the mouse for this one because the Acela's throttle can just... It's that kind that can go just from 0 to 100 and hit about every notch on the way, and it can hit any random notch. So I had to use the mouse to get it to the notch I wanted it in. 15 miles per hour. Pretty slow for the Acela. Meanwhile, for the passengers, probably comfortable for them. Hmm. 20 minutes left to get to Philadelphia, and 16 miles until that comes. As soon as I get out of the speed restriction, I'm flooring it. Yeah, this is just how fast we're going so far. And for the beginning of the session, we obviously started out at Philadelphia. Wilmington. Wilmington, Delaware. And we have to run this train to Philadelphia 30th Street Station. I wonder if this train actually stopped at DC and Baltimore before even coming up to this point. Of course, one other thing that's unrealistic about this Northeast Corridor is that it only goes from Washington, D.C. to Philadelphia, whereas in real life, it goes more north of Philadelphia, and then it also goes to places like Newark, New Jersey, and New York City, and even as far as Boston, Massachusetts. So it's much longer than the DC to Philadelphia stretch. Still, that part's my favorite since it's included in MSTS. But I'm pointing out the unrealistic thing about that. I mean, yeah, I understand that it was a lot of work to actually make this part of the line realistic, and it probably would have been even more a pain in the ass just to make it all the way north to Boston. But I know that there's an improved Northeast Corridor route that you can download somewhere that starts at Washington, D.C., and it actually goes to New York City, and they've actually made more realistic improvements to the D.C. to Philadelphia stretch. And looks like we might be getting out of this 15 miles per hour joint soon, and we have a clear signal up ahead. I can only imagine if I was actually rail fanning right here and I saw the speed of this train. Just imagine if I was having camera failures or something, or it took a while to boot up. If this train was flying, I would have definitely missed it, no questions asked. But if it was going at this rate and I was having trouble getting my camera loaded in time, I would definitely have time. And even if it just passed me, as long as this area is open, like it is there, then I would have even more time to move over and catch it. Imagine if it was departing the station speed. Right. Going under the signal. And now that I don't see the 15 miles per hour speed limit, the red thing on the track monitor, I have my finger right on top of the D key, and I'm getting ready to speed it up. Here we go. Oh yeah. Time to make up some time. Hopefully it'll be full speed ahead all the way to Philadelphia. And no more of this 15 miles per hour crap. So the limit's 80, and so far we're projected to go 56. And you know, I actually think this part of the Northeast Corridor is really interesting, because, I mean, I'm just going to be on the outside for the entire part, and I'm going to be in this outside aerial view so you can actually see what I'm talking about. But I really like how they have those bridges and the nearby water. Of course over there is the highway, but that's irrelevant. And how they have that interesting maze of tracks. Almost reminds me of zoo interlocking outside Philadelphia. And it's really cool how they have all those tracks that just split apart over here, and then eventually they rejoin. I almost imagine being the engineer of the Acela at this point. It would be quite a challenge for me. Although, this is actually the easiest session on the Northeast Corridor in MSTS. Difficulty is easy. Shouldn't even be that hard. And then the hardest session on the Northeast Corridor is Acela Express, which is actually one of my personal favorites. I should make a video of that sometime. But in Acela Express, you actually run the whole length from Washington D.C. to Philadelphia, and it's super cool. Except they make you stop at Edgewood, which again is not part of the Northeast Corridor and only serves the Mark Penn line. And not only that, they also skipped over BWI on the station stops. Although it seems like not every Acela stops there. But for sure, no Acela stops at Edgewood. Oh yeah, making up some time. Hey, an Amtrak. Of course, it's that fakey electric train. The one that shouldn't have even been included. Freaking Genesis. Of course we know it doesn't operate on the Northeast Corridor. I've said it before in the past 2 MSTS videos. That's one of the most unrealistic things they could have done to this line. Acela, however, the inaccurate consist is one thing. And the HHP is pretty good. Please ignore that ringing phone. I ain't gonna get up and answer it. I'm in the middle of a video. I'm just gonna kick it up a notch. In only a matter of time, we will be allowed to go 110, so that'll be awesome. And of course, we're going to have a lower speed limit when we get to Philadelphia. Right now, I'm watching out for that 110. I think I can see the mile markers just up ahead. Here we fucking go. Full speed ahead, bitches. On to Philadelphia. Miles left and 11 minutes to get there. So far, we are making good time. Passenger's point of view. Really making some time now. Another thing I've noticed is that if you actually go too fast, and I'm not talking like going over speed, but like if you happen to go really fast, and then when you complete the session and they tell you your overall performance, then they actually will tell you if you exceeded passenger comfort levels, and that could happen if you go really fast but not even over speed. Like, hello, the Acela does that fast all the time. I am enjoying going this fast, I am also periodically checking the track monitor for new speed limits. And I'm pretty sure we're going to be getting some soon. Another Amtrak. Of course, it's the unrealistic Amtrak that just had to have been included in this session. Well, I'm seeing Philadelphia coming up. We have 8 minutes to get there, and we have 4 miles left until the station. No updates to the track yet? Okay. Well, we do have a green signal coming up soon. And I gotta say, I will not be surprised if we get a yellow one with a 45 miles per hour limit coming up shortly. So as soon as we pass through this green signal, I'm going to watch out. Yep. How did I just know that was going to happen? Being prepared. Now, I'm not going to throw it into emergency, so I'll do the same thing as going over speed. Applying the brakes. There we go. Perfectly normal now. So we have 7 minutes left to get there, soon to be 6. And 2 miles until the station. And we do have another speed restriction coming up, but it's the same. It's another approach signal. I can understand at this point why we're getting it. That's because it's not going to be much longer until we arrive. We have 6 minutes left to get there, 2 miles until the station. That's what I like to consider when trying to determine if I'm going to arrive on time. Oh, we got 30 coming up. And then, after we pass this approach signal, I think that's actually the last signal we'll be passing on this line. Here comes the approach. Let's watch the signal drop. Knew it. No more signals on this line. And that can easily tell us one thing. We are almost there. Huh? Okay, now the limit's 45. That's good. We'll pick it up a little. Okay, didn't mean to hit that. We got 5 minutes left to arrive there, and 1 mile left. No problem. That isn't a big deal. But yeah, I really like to think about how many miles until the next station, as well as the arrival time I'm supposed to arrive there, and the time it currently is. That helps me analyze the miles and the minutes together, and just see which one could possibly be higher. Because if you think about it, even though the miles and the minutes are not the same thing, I count how many miles are left, and that number, of course, is decreasing. And it decreases pretty fast when you're going fast. Because often if there's a greater space between the current time and the arrival time than there is with the miles, then I figure that I'm making good time. And station's just coming up into sight. Isn't much more time left to get there. We're now arriving. I'm going to stop. Alright, it's going to take 25 seconds to unload all the passengers and complete this whole activity. You know what, since we're at the end of the line, I think I'll just set my pantograph down. Even though that wasn't really needed. We are done. Let's see how well we did. Exceeded the speed limit one time. Yeah, I was probably in the 15 miles per hour section. Exceeded passenger comfort level 2 times. I don't give a shit. Well, thanks for watching.